In this video, I will show you how to set healthy relationship boundaries. Whether you're just starting to date a person or you're in a new relationship and you want to make sure you're really setting up the space between the two of you in a healthy way. Now, I'm going to address a common misconception around what healthy boundaries are not. And this is going to go against a lot of the traditional advice here on YouTube, which is actually setting you up for unnatural, overly aggressive boundaries with a new partner, which can really scare someone away, particularly if they have had an experience with boundaries before, whether they've been pushed out. And I know some of you won't like this advice, but there is a really fine line that we can cross when setting boundaries in this way that is actually toxic behavior. And it sets your new relationship up for the same failure as if you never set the boundary in the first place. So I will show you exactly where that line is and how to properly navigate it to set authentic boundaries that don't push people away, particularly people, like I said, who might have been burnt in their past by people setting rigid boundaries or the kinds of boundaries that get in the way of true intimacy and authentic connection. Now, I want you to stick around to the very end of the video because I will show you a principle that you can implement right now to begin setting boundaries in a way that feels authentic and allows connection and intimacy with the other person to flourish. And it's certainly not going to feel yucky, unloving, or unpleasant to do. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Amy, and I help women in toxic dating and relationship cycles heal their past and connect to their worth so they can create the healthy, secure, and loving relationship they desire. And if you want more content on this topic, be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button so you can get notified when I post new videos twice a week. Before we begin, I want to announce that a few spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me for the Love by Design program. Make sure you stick around to the very end of the video for the announcement on how to sign up for that. So the reason we all want to set healthy boundaries in relationship, particularly at the beginning, is because we have a tendency not to voice what our needs or desires are at this time. We're putting our best foot forward here. And sometimes we want to come across as easygoing. Perhaps we have a bad habit of being a people pleaser as well. And we might really, really like this person and want to avoid any possible conflict with them so the connection can really grow. Now, obviously, we need to find a healthy way to assert our sense of self at the start of a relationship. And so we automatically think, okay, let's set some boundaries so this new person's going to get to know what's okay and what's not right from the very beginning. And another reason we want to set boundaries is because of our past. If we've been in a relationship before where we've lost our sense of self and we have extra motivation to go about setting up our new scenario with this person in a way that makes sure they know what is going to be okay and what isn't. We don't want to get stuck in that trap of unhealthy relationship patterns again. And so we decide setting boundaries is the best way to do this. Lastly, there is an idea floating around YouTube that setting boundaries is an act of self-love, that by telling someone else what is okay and what is not okay for you is a way that you can actually show love for yourself. And look, I can understand this, where this theory comes from, but I'm going to show you there is a much healthier and more authentic way to practice self-love when you are in a relationship. Now, I want you to be very clear. I'm not suggesting you become a doormat, that you hide your opinions and suppress yourself. We definitely need to find our voice to express our truth in all of our relationships, and particularly at the start of a relationship. But there is a missing piece to the puzzle here, because if you start telling this person all the things that they can and cannot do in your new relationship and start setting up rules and expectations based on everything I've just listed, you're putting up a wall between you and them, and that separates you from this person. That suffocates healthy, growing connection. This causes problems when you're starting a relationship with a person. This causes two problems when you're starting a relationship with someone. Firstly, misrepresentation. Harnessing any kind of energy in setting a boundary that isn't a natural part of your behavior or your personality is simply misrepresenting who you are, plain and simple. This person is not going to see the real you. They will see the you behind this wall you're creating with these boundaries or this energy. So you're not actually showing your true self at a time when it is most important to show who you really are, so you can establish if the two of you are compatible or not. If you misrepresent yourself in any way at the start of a relationship by being something you're not, you aren't giving the potential relationship a chance, nor yourself a chance to be fully seen and heard by this person, so they can get to know and appreciate and potentially love the real you. Secondly, control. The second problem with putting up rigid boundaries is that by being very strict and setting rules, it is a form of coercion that you're bringing into the relationship, which will eventually create contempt. Contempt is one of Gottman's 4 horsemen of the relationship apocalypse, and its presence in a relationship is, in Gottman's opinion, one of the main signifiers that a relationship will fail. So why would you want to introduce a culture of control and coercion that is going to guarantee your relationship to fail right at the start when you're just meeting someone? Now, if this is landing for you right now, please hit the like button and let me know in the comments below if you've had an experience in this way where you've really put someone off and put a wall up and you regret it. So the root of this problem, the missing piece of the puzzle here, and the key to setting truly healthy relationship boundaries in an authentic way, is a process that needs to happen inside of us. We need to learn how to set internal boundaries. So an internal boundary is an understanding or agreement you have with yourself of what you can and cannot tolerate in a relationship. It's not something you need to communicate to a person. It's something you need to get really clear on within yourself. When we have clear internal boundaries, we can act from a place of healthy respect for ourselves that doesn't rely on telling this person what is and what isn't okay. And we already know it, and we approach the new relationship and the time we spend with this person in order to gather data on whether they can meet our requirements for a partner and relationship. It's a very quiet, understated but powerful tool you need to learn so that healthy connection can grow with your new person. But it's easier said than done because it's a process that can be difficult to stick to if we have insecurities around this new person, which is completely natural and normal. Insecurities like we really want them to like us, so we'll do whatever it takes to get them to like us, or we aren't sure that we're really worthy of love because if we're in a new relationship, we've had past relationships that haven't gone so well, and there's a possibility of internal shame swirling around inside of us. And we want them to be the one. Now, I have already posted a video on how to know if this person is right for us or not, and to really debunk this concept of the one, and I recommend you watch it. It's in the link above my head. Because the key here is getting really clear on what you want in a partner, what's truly right for you, and what you are and are not willing to tolerate in relationship. Now, if you're not clear on that, you're going to tend to stick to controlling your external environment rather than simply gathering data on this person. And if they don't match what you want or what you're willing to tolerate, you don't go about trying to control or change them in the form of a boundary. You simply let them know that this isn't a match and you move on. So we need to come from a solid place of self-awareness and healthy self-respect and authentic, true communication, which is the point of healthy boundary setting in the first place. So I'm going to give you a tool to get started on establishing healthy internal boundaries within yourself so you can spend the time in your new relationship discovering and exploring your connection with them, rather than exerting energy that might be misrepresenting or controlling. This tool is something I teach in my group program called Love by Design. In the program, my clients use this tool in a variety of ways to establish a healthy, strong, authentic sense of self that allows healthy intimacy to form in relationships. And this tool is called the 50-50 rule. So I want you to imagine in any exchange that you have with a person, the space between you and them constitutes 100% of this interaction. 50% of that interaction belongs to you, and 50% of it belongs to the other person. In an ideal scenario where we are having healthy, authentic exchange with someone or a partner, there is a good balance between both sides, both giving and receiving communication somewhat equally. In a less than ideal scenario, say for example, the person you started seeing is quite self-interested and doesn't ask a lot of questions about yourself, the balance is going to maybe be more 90-10. Now, you don't need to set a boundary with that person to know that there is something off with this situation, particularly if it's a pattern and you're not feeling heard or seen. You need to recognize that within yourself, with your own internal boundary, that it is important for you to be seen and heard in relationship, and see that this person just may not be able to give that to you. Maybe they can, perhaps they were just really excited and it was a once-off. But like I said, if this is a pattern over time, you simply need to recognize that, communicate that this isn't a match for you, because they can't fulfill your need to be seen and heard in relationship. No fuss, just simply, I'm sorry, this isn't the relationship I'm looking for or the connection I'm looking for, and I wish you all the best. Let's take another less than ideal scenario. For example, where you've been hurt in the past and you want to make sure your new person knows it's not okay to say, not return your text within 24 hours. So you go setting a big old boundary with this person. And because you've put your foot down or a wall up early on in this way, you might not discover that actually your new person just doesn't like texting. But it doesn't mean that they don't want to converse with you. In fact, their intention might be to call you every few days, because that's how they like to communicate in a more personal manner, which is great. But by setting this strict boundary with this person out of your own insecurities from your past, you're missing an opportunity to see how your new person likes to communicate and to hear why they like to communicate in that way. And you would do this if the exchange was 50-50 and you asked them about their preferences. So the 50-50 rule can be a really helpful tool for us to start using in relationships, so we can recognize that 50% of our interaction is important, and it's really important to know that what we want, what we're looking for, what our intention is, and our internal boundaries, and to have them really clear inside of us going into any kind of communication with someone, particularly on a date. And then we also need to use this tool to gather data on their 50%. We're at the beginning of a relationship with someone, which is the time to really get to know them, to really see what their world is like. How do they operate? Do they have the raw material to potentially build a relationship with us? Now, if we're too busy setting these boundaries, putting up these walls, in my opinion, we're not getting a chance to see who this person really is in the context of this 50-50 rule. So we can establish if this person is the right person for us. So you now have a tool to start investigating your own internal boundaries in your new relationship that can help give you space to really see who this person is and allow authentic connection to really grow between the two of you. Part of using this tool properly is to stand in your own integrity and be prepared to say no to them if what you see in their 50% doesn't work for you. But know that the real key to setting healthy boundaries comes from this internal process within you. So whatever you do, don't put up walls around yourself when you're dating and starting a new relationship with someone, because of your own insecurities or because you're not clear on your own internal boundaries. As I've outlined, it can really misrepresent who you are and be a form of coercive control. And as someone who's been on the receiving end of it in the past, it often shows up as a red flag in the relationship further down the line. Now, as I've said, I teach this tool in my program, Love by Design. And if you're interested in finding more about how to use the 50-50 rule and create a truly authentic, healthy relationship in your life, I want you to join me in my free training to learn the exact 3-step process on how to go from anxious and insecure to secure in relationships. And you can click the link above to join me there, or the link below. And also below, you can interact with me on a more personal level. There's a link to my free Facebook group, Love by Design. And if you want to submit your application for the free one-to-one consult, you can also do that in the link below. And please, if you have any questions or points that you need me to clarify or want to chat about, please leave a comment down below this video. I would love to hear from you, and I will be in the comments. And if you found this video helpful and valuable, please click the like button to help this channel out, and also subscribe for more content like this one. In the meantime, here are some really great next step videos for you to watch so you can move one step closer to an incredible relationship with yourself and with the partner you desire. For now, I will see you in the next video.